Welcome to the final ever question of the month. Now you're probably saying to yourself, if you follow my channel, there have only been 2 questions of the month so far. Why is it going away? Well, it's not really going away. I just realized that I have this backwards. The way it stands, I ask you guys a question, and then I incorporate your response and my response in a final video. And it kind of makes the initial video not have a lot of substance to it, the question of the month. So I'm going to do it in reverse. We're going to replace the question of the month with the discussion of the month. So what I'm going to do next month is I'm going to give you a commentary on something I feel is important for the month. And then you can tell me your thoughts on it. And then in a follow-up video, we'll cover what you guys had to say. So technically, the question of the month is going away, and we're just replacing it with the discussion of the month. So in the most recent question of the month, I asked you guys, what do you think of HBO Now? Now, just in case you're not familiar with HBO Now, it's a service that HBO has launched that is an over-the-top solution. So in other words, you don't need a cable subscription to get HBO content. And if you're not familiar with HBO, HBO is a cable channel that offers a lot of high-quality original content. Now, obviously, if I have to explain that, it's not a global service. And I knew that going into it. But here in the United States, the cable companies have a lock on entertainment, and it's very regionalized, it's very monopolistic in certain instances, and a lot of the cable companies are not looked at favorably here in the United States because customer service is not a high priority because of the monopolistic aspects of the business. Generally, you have one cable provider in your area, and then maybe you have 1 or 2 satellite providers in your area as well. And generally speaking, if you want the fastest internet, you would go with a cable company. That's what I do. I bundle my internet service with my cable subscription. So I'm pretty much stuck with one provider. And in a monopolistic business, there's not a lot of incentive for companies to go above and beyond. So that's why HBO Now is a big deal here in the United States, because it's an over-the-top solution, and it's one of those services that's starting to turn the tide against the stranglehold that cable companies have on content. Of course, Netflix is probably the best example of one of the first companies that started the trend. Now, like I did in the previous question of the month, I'm going to break down your responses into percentage points. Now, again, this is not a scientific study. This is just percentages of those of you who answered this question. And a large percentage actually are totally unaffected by HBO Now. 37.5% of you who responded are actually totally unaffected by whatever HBO does. And 2 of you are in areas that actually you just can't get HBO. Sporty Bros says, being from Scotland, we don't have HBO, so therefore I can't comment. Liam Pooperman, and I assume that's your legal name, says, being from Ireland, we don't have HBO, so therefore I can't comment. So those are 2 people who are totally unaffected by HBO, whatever HBO does. I Told You So says, I don't have a TV, just internet. Now, I don't know if HBO is offered in I Told You So's area, but regardless, these 3 respondents were totally unaffected by whatever HBO does. Now, 25% of you were against HBO Now. Agus Masuli, and I hope I pronounced that right, says, well, I'm from Argentina. Here we don't have HBO Now. Now, if it'd be available here, I don't think it's a good idea. Having a cable connection plus your Apple TV or Smart TV connected to the internet, I don't see the necessity of having another subscription, because sooner or later you will probably have the same stuff available, having HBO Now or not. George Cartali said, okay, HBO Now is just another service. What I would like to see is regular TV have something different. I don't need another service I can't afford. 37.5% of you that responded are in favor of HBO Now. CaliCal26 says, Hulu and Netflix are all I need. I'll get HBO when it comes out. He or she also said, all I have is internet. I'll never get cable. There are only a few channels that I watch, so there's no point in paying $50 a month for cable. So something like HBO Now would be more palatable for CaliCal26 because it's more of that a la carte type entertainment. And speaking of a la carte, Michael Dennard says, I think it's a good idea and should lead to the pay TV giants offering a la carte service. That is the holy grail for those of us who want to consume content. Just give me what I want, don't give me the channels I don't want. And capping off the 37.5% that are in favor of HBO Now, Sean Walker says, it's about time HBO did this. So what do I think of HBO Now? I think it's a promising sign that we're moving in the right direction. Things like HBO that were traditionally locked to cable television, breaking out from that and doing an over-the-top service like HBO Now is a great sign. And that's why it's a watershed moment, because HBO is probably the biggest cable channel here in the United States that offers high-quality original content, like Game of Thrones and things of that nature. And it's good to see them breaking out of that cable mode, or at least taking the first steps of breaking out of that cable stranglehold and offering an over-the-top service. Now, of course, we have to mention Netflix, because Netflix was really the first big company to do an over-the-top solution and really got the ball rolling on all this. But those of us who want to consume content on an a la carte basis need more than just Netflix or HBO Now. Now, even though progress is being made, and I'm not complaining, but it's being made in a very cable-centric way, in the fact that HBO Now has been bundled currently with Apple devices, just like the bundling that always happened with cable companies. Fortunately, that bundling is only a 90-day exclusivity type situation. It's sort of what you would find in the video game world, where certain games are exclusive for a certain period of time, a timed exclusive. Because at the end of the day, if you tie your service only to one type of device, you're not going to get the adoption that you want to. Look at Netflix. They're on everything, and that's a smart business practice. So hopefully after this 90 days is up, you'll find HBO Now on pretty much everything. I know it's going to come to Android devices and Google devices sometime in the summer, which would coincide with that 90-day window. But it's good to know that HBO Now is on its way to a whole host of devices instead of just that Apple exclusivity that is currently in effect, at least at the time of filming this video. So I believe that whether you are going to be a subscriber to HBO Now or whether you're not going to be a subscriber to HBO Now, it's a watershed moment. It's a sign of better days for the content that you consume, and you're not locked down to that cable subscription. So that's going to do it for this video. Again, this is the final question of the month. It will be replaced with the discussion of the month next month. So that's going to do it for this video. If you have any additional comments, please post them down below. If you like what you see, please subscribe. And as always, if you want to help out my channel, give me a thumbs up, favorite this video, share this video, or you can actually join my Patreon. Go over to patreon.com/TechHarvest. I do giveaways over there. Also, I've set up a tip jar on YouTube here. So if you want to kick me $1 here or there, it would be much appreciated. Again, I'm trying to take TechHarvest from a hobby into my profession. And for those of you who care what I look like, because I've never shown my face here on TechHarvest before, I have posted a thank you video showing my face that will play for those of you who use my tip jar. So as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.